Well, I I had a day. I mentioned in my post yesterday that I am preparing for a presentation at a music teachers conference on improvisation for classical piano. And I had a couple hours today to think about the project, think about the work, and I spent a really unjustifiably long amount of time designing my opening slide, and it's designed to be like a gag. It's the heading is what is improvisation, and then it's this long, complicated mathematical formula with nonsense. I mean, not nonsense, but like harmonic intuition and an inborn sense of rhythm, all times a n cosine of swing feel over L times B sine of early exposure to bebop, and it's just a bunch of playful, silly, designed to be silly. Um, it's a gag. It's a gag, and I couldn't make myself stop doing that slide. It was like, why, why? What? Can I please move on to the rest of the presentation? And then I finally dragged myself away from my little nerding out project, went to a piano, and sat down and I said, okay, I've got my bullet points here. I'm just gonna go through this now. Record myself, set up a camera, and just press record and go. Do this now. And almost immediately, I was like, oh, I kind of get this. I kind of get what I'm saying here. It's not as organized as it could be, and it's not as elegantly constructed as I would like it to be. But I've got a pretty good sense of of what I'm doing, and I found, this is how I work. I've learned this is how I work. I set up a camera and I start speaking. I mean, look at me. How long have I been doing this? Maybe 4 years in January. I set up a camera and I start speaking, and suddenly I know what to say. That's the that's my whole thing. Like that's literally, and luckily I know that about myself, or I at least know enough about myself in that regard to know that I can always go to that. When I am struggling to write something, and I've even learned at this point, I shouldn't even try to write it. It's not that I shouldn't at all try to write it, or I shouldn't think about what ought to be written. It's just that I will write it in the act of speaking. It's like writing in the act of speaking is my practice. And it's funny because I can kind of remember there was a very specific moment in my life when a kind of a shift took place. There was a period of my life where I wrote volumes. I journaled constantly, constantly. I wrote, hundreds of pages, dozens of journals are filled with writing. And I went on a meditation retreat, and this was a big moment. I've told a handful of people in my life about this moment. I guess now I'm telling you about it. I went on a meditation retreat with a spiritual teacher, and it was a very odd experience. It was very intense and very, very in a lot of ways kind of destabilizing experience, although ultimately a very grounding and experience evolved me very deeply. But I went on this retreat and I found myself like having wild swings of everything from this is amazing, this teacher is fantastic and profound and a deep teacher in my life, all the way over to this guy is a sociopathic cult leader and I need to flee, I need to run from this place. I didn't run. Whatever I was imagining was, and I would not call it imagining. I would call it receiving. I was receiving something. But there's nothing bad happened on the retreat. It was people sitting in a meditation hall and having these conversations, and then having some group conversations, and then we all went home. There was nothing illicit and nothing even mildly unsettling on the surface of things. What I was tapping into was something deeper within this particular teacher, which ultimately was one of my greatest lessons in trust, because or in self-trust. I had to learn to trust myself. I had to learn to trust the voice that was inside me no matter what, because everything I imagined all these things happening to this organization, and I imagined all these things, again, I don't say imagined, I was receiving, I was downloading this stuff. I was seeing a vision of what was going to happen to this organization and this teacher, and lo and behold, 2 years later, it all happened. It was like the whole thing came crashing down. Many of the, I can't speak to any of the specifics because by that point I was not around anymore. That retreat was the last contact I really had with the organization. But I got the sense that everything I was intuiting and everything I was downloading was accurate to at least enough of a degree to have had a very similar result in reality as what I had envisioned, what I was seeing in my mind. And it was basically just this guy was not legit. He had a lot of unintended stuff, and he was not a legit teacher. So anyway, that's not. I'm not talking. How did I get from classical pianist learning improv to that? Well, that experience, somewhere in that period, somewhere over the course of that retreat, I felt my thinking accelerate to a level that I could no longer capture what was in my mind on paper, and I stopped journaling. Almost overnight, I just stopped doing it. I would sit down to write, and it would be like, I can't, this is not going to do it. Now, there is lots of value in sitting down and writing and very consciously and deliberately slowing down the mind so that the mind can't just go a million miles a minute. And what we actually write down is chosen from the maelstrom of things that are coming through our mind. That's very important, and that is something that I did start to deeply practice as I started to write as a creative practice, write songs, write sketches, write films, write plays. That it's not that I dropped the practice of writing altogether, but I dropped the practice of journaling for the sake of capturing the thoughts that I have. But now I do a video post every single day, and at least one of my early impulses for doing that, one of the reasons I started was to kind of give myself the opportunity to capture some of what was going on in my mind, because I felt like a lot of it was happening, a lot of things were happening, a lot of things were coming up that I could tell were significant, and that I was not giving enough shape to for me to actually connect and digest what my mind was trying to tell me. And I think, if you ask me, I think it goes way beyond that. I think it goes to a much deeper level of intuition. Um, but all that is to say, I've developed a practice now where, rather than sitting and writing, I sit and speak, and I do this for all kinds of things. I will shoot a video of myself, and usually, a lot of times, I don't even have to watch the video. Sometimes I do, but a lot of times, I just shoot the video and then clock what I have done and shoot another one, and then another one, and then another one, and before I know it, I've done. Before I know it, I've given some shape to something, and it's the ping pong of doing the recording the thing, writing some stuff down, recording the thing, capturing it in writing, recording the thing, capturing, and then at some point, of course, I do have to watch the video and go through and actually listen. I did that today. I haven't actually done the listening part, but that's why I shot the video today. Right? I was like, as I started to speak things, I was like, oh, sweet. Now it's coming through. Now I know what I'm after here. So that was cool. And I recognize that I at least know I if I had to get up and do this thing tomorrow, I could do it. If I had to get up and do a presentation on improvisation for classical piano, I would do it tomorrow. It would need more shape. It wouldn't be perfect. It would have all kinds of flaws, but I could do it, and I could stand behind the bulk of what I'm saying. I would stand behind that. I would defend it. I would know that I was saying something at least significant to some people. Um, and that felt really good, because I wasn't expecting that. I was actually, like I said, I spent all this time designing one single slide, the opening slide, and then I thought to myself, I've got to go run this thing and see what I've got. And almost as soon as I started, I was like, oh, okay, good. I can do this. I can do this. And of course, I would love to give this some shape, but I can do this. So now I know that. And now I can go in and actually do as much shaping as I possibly can in the next 4 or 5 days. Because for me, that shaping process, that moving, that giving form to things is really the kind of, that's the beat. That's the thing that lets me then really soar. If I know I've done that work, I can fly. If I've only done that work to a moderate level, I can still sometimes fly. It's not even like I can't fly. It's just, it's not as sure a thing. And I like to show up prepared. So, but today, talking about improvisation, have to leave at least So anyway, that's where I am today. From an experience I had with a quasi-cult to my presentation on improvisation. I've learned the gamut with you today. You're still watching.